Hi, and welcome to the King of 94 tournament for 2024. We are very excited that we actually already have the dates now. Usually, we don't get the dates until about maybe 3 or 4 months before, but we got them nice and early this time. And so now you can plan ahead if you're wanting to come. We'll go over the time and location for the tournament, talk a little bit about the goalie tournament that we're bringing back this year and the difference between that one and the King of 94 tournament. And then we'll go over all the things that have changed from last year to this year. And if you're new, well, it'll be all new anyway. So, okay, time and location. Free Play Toronto. That was a arcade bar that is in Toronto where we held it last year and got a lot of positive feedback on it. People loved the place. They loved the area in Toronto that it was at, close to downtown. And so we said, well, we have to go back. And the ownership there, they were great to work with and are happy to have us back as well. And we were able to negotiate a little bit of extra time there because last year we had to couldn't start till noon. So now we start an hour earlier at 11 o'clock each day. So on Saturday is our first day of the tournament. This Saturday, September 28th. We're going to have the Sega King of 94 tournament from 11 to 7 p.m. So 8 hours max. That's from the round robin right up to the very last championship game. And then the Sega Auto Goalie tournament, which we'll talk about a bit later. We're expecting that to end around 5. Then in the evening, we have our Sega 2v2 and our Super Nintendo 2v2 tournaments, which we haven't had since 2022. So we're going to bring that back as well, just like the Auto Goalie tournament that we had once before. And that 2v2 tournament will be in the evening from 8 till 11. The Sunday, September 29th, will be our Super Nintendo Kick 'em 94. That'll run from 11 to 7, and then our SNES Auto Goalie as well. And the reason why we're having our 2v2 on Saturday night, the night before, is just because of how much time we can be at the venue. So we've got called the VIP section, is what they call it, for the evening of Saturday at this place. All right, the King of 94 and the Auto Goalie tournament. So these are two separate tournaments on the same day. So you can register for one or the other on the same day. You can't play them both because they'll be running at the same time and there'd just be too much overlap. So it wouldn't work out. Uh, Having to add on that, you could play in the King of 94 on one console and then the other tournament on the other console. So, for example, if you wanted to play both days and maybe you were a Sega guy and you wanted to play on the King of 94 tournament on Saturday, and then you also wanted to play Super Nintendo but thought maybe the auto goalie would be a better option for your skill, then you could do that. So here's the difference between the two. Obviously, price you can see there $75 for the King of 94, $40 for the auto goalie tournament. Both tournaments are eligible for door prizes, but King of 94 is only eligible for cash prizes. So, in terms of who we are expecting to play in these ones, the King of 94 really is the best of the best. So, the best players, or if you're new to the tournament and you know you want to play against the best, then that is the tournament that you want to go in. The reason why we were bringing the auto goalie tournament is we're trying to attract some different players. We know that there are a lot of players that have grown up, they love the game, may not be elite level, but they liked playing with auto goalie and they just had a lot of fun that way. So this is tournament is more geared towards them. So if you're more of a casual player sort of thing, or not wanting to play against the elite players, then this really is for you. It's sort of the casual tournament. And again, it's auto goalie throughout the tournament. Well, obviously, King of 94 is manual goalie. And we know that a lot of people um, that play and really have to practice with manual goalie and they don't necessarily like it. So we're talking to you. Come play in the goalie tournament. I think you'll really have a lot of fun with that. In terms of the 2v2, the registration, whatever console you register for, you're eligible for the tournament that evening. And your teammate doesn't have to be registered in the tournament. It's only one of you has to. So if you had a friend that was coming to watch you play and didn't want to play in the singles tournament, they could play with you at the 2v tournament if you wanted to have some fun. that evening. What's changing year from year? Well, we're bringing back the 6 game round robin. We've had it for most years, actually. And we had to shorten it last year to 4 games because of the time factor that we had. We had to restrict the amount of people that we had in the tournament. And this year there is no restriction, so we can have aim to have as many as we'd like, because we have extra time to do that. The round robin games will now go back to 6. The bracket side, the losers final series in the King of 94 bracket, will now be a best of 3. It last year was a best of 1. It used to be a best of 3, but again, we got a lot of feedback from the players after the last one. They really wanted the 6 game round robins back, did that. Wanted the losers side final back, did that. King of 94 seeding. So our super group is coming back again. Top seeds 1 to 5. The next best 9 records from the other groups will be seeded 6 through 14. And then the last 2 seats will be a play-in, so eligible for anybody that had 4 wins or more in the round robin. So they'll play a single game play-in, call it a play-in, play-out bracket. So they're trying to play their way in to grab one of those last 2 seats. But if they lose, they're actually not out of the tournament. They just drop down to our Duke of 94, sorry, bracket, which is the mid-level tiered tournament for that. The Duke playoffs and the Puke playoffs as part of our 3-tier tournament. Those used to be or have always been double elimination single game, and we're opting now to simplify it. And so there'll still be the same amount of play games. You're still guaranteed 2 playoff games. We're opting to simplify it so that it's a best of 3 single elimination. So you win, you move on, you lose, you're out. This is actually better as organizers. It makes things much easier for us. And so we wanted to try it this year and see how it would work. The higher seed is home for the playoffs. It used to be that the higher seed could decide if they wanted to defer games 1 and 3. I don't think that many took advantage of it. I mean, there have been people that have told me before that they actually like playing on the road versus playing at home. But I don't know if anybody ever actually used that in this particular tournament. So now we're just getting rid of that rule altogether. So higher seed will always be home in games 1 and, if necessary, at game 3. The puke bracket will now be players of wins from 0 to 2 wins. It used to be 0 to 1, but because with the changes on the king bracket, there will be more players in the Duke. So those Duke players, it used to be whoever won 2 and 3 games. Now it'll be whoever wins 3, 4, or 5. So that's those changes, how that's working there. The King of 94 supergroups will be the top five players in 2023, and we wanted to kind of reward guys that played last year. So we know some guys had really good runs that maybe haven't done that at previous tournaments, and I think this is a good way to reward them for this year, provided they come back. That is, and if they don't come back, then I guess they lose out on that opportunity. But if they come back this year, then they will be guaranteed one of the top 5 spots. Now, if there's a tie for that last 5th place position, then we will go by the best win percentage that they had from last year's tournament. So we'll tally up all their wins versus their loss, figure out who had the best win percentage, and then that player will sneak into the top 5. We are going to allow an exception for this, though. If a player had not played in 2023 and they won the last King of 94 tournament that they were in, then they would automatically be eligible for the super group. So, for example, we had a player, Mikhail, who last played in 2020. He won the Super Nintendo King of 94 and he hasn't played since. So, whenever he comes back, if he comes back this year, he's automatically guaranteed a spot in that super group. And the same thing on the Sega side. We had Trefo, who won in 2021. So if he were to attend the tournament this year, he would automatically be guaranteed a spot in the top 5. And then finally here, controllers. So a lot of guys bring their own controllers. So if you have one, we encourage you to bring one to the tournament. We found that it seems to be increasing every year that more guys are bringing their own controllers. But if you don't have one, we're just going to change something up that we did last year. Last year, we used to have controllers at each station, but we found that it just because more guys are bringing their own, there were more controllers just sitting around, laying around at stations and causing a lot of mess and that kind of stuff. So now, if you need a controller, you can borrow one. It's borrow one from us. Basically, you're kind of signing it out for the day to use it, and then signing it back in at the end of the day because we obviously want our controller back. You don't get to keep it. Signing it back in at the end of the day, and that will be more of a first sort of a first come first serve basis type of thing. Um, Really, I just encourage you to bring your own if you can, because then you know what you're bringing and you'll feel comfortable with it and that kind of thing. But if you don't, that's okay. We will have one for you, and they're good controllers. I mean, we try to keep ones that are in really good condition. Just can't always guarantee that it might be perfectly the way that you know that you're used to. So that's all we say on that. Okay, that's it. Here's how you can contact us. You'll see a lot of our social media platforms there. Really, the best way to reach us is by email. And so, myself and the other organizer, Michael, he goes by Smozoma in the community. We check this email out pretty much daily, I would say, monitor it daily. So, if you have a question, you can reach out to us through there. And the King of 94 website, I would encourage you to visit that because it's got the rules, it's got the format, it's got some other content about the previous tournaments, some fun stuff that we put in there as well for that. The a registration will take place August 1st, so approximately 2 months before the tournament starts. The Eventbrite page that we use for registration, that's pretty much set up to go now. So there'll be a link that you can click on to get you to the Eventbrite page, and I believe there should be a reminder option. You can click the reminder option to let you know when it's coming up. So those kinds of things as well. But again, any questions at all, email is the best way to reach us. If you have been thinking about coming to this tournament or any live tournament, I encourage you to do so. It is a ton of fun. It's open to all ages, but I'll say most of the guys are, between that 30, up to, 30 up to 60 range. Guys that played when they were kids, or some of these guys that were in college when this game came out. So we usually get one player who brings his son every year, and his son's pretty good too, and he's middle teenager now, so we like having him out. So there is no restriction to who can play in the tournament. But it is a lot of fun, and I really encourage you to come out and have a fun weekend. It's maybe a chance to win a prize and then or win a trophy and those kinds of things. So that's it for me. I really appreciate you watching the video, and I hope you can consider coming because I guarantee you it will be a blast.